yeah, so I ended up hand coloring this one. I mean, I'd like to do more with this guy. I don't know what I'm also gonna do with this. I'd like to get better at doing silk screens. I've also been experimenting with rubber stamping. I've been carving. Actually, hold on. Here are they're not very good. They're just kind of like there's a little lightning bolt that I made. There is a mercury glyph that I made, and I actually made one that was sort of evocative. There's the lightning bolt. This one, the dog ate this one, so I mean it's just okay. But this is supposed to be like a sort of representation of Niagara Falls, thunderbolts, like because electricity. Um, anyway, like I have competing aesthetics. And I don't like that's another part. Is like I have this really fractured. We can get this guy out of here. I have this really fractured identity as an artist and artist, designer, whatever person who makes marks on paper. Like here's my little mascot dude. He's my little hang in there possum buddy. He lives on my business card. There's the octopossum. Here's these were just like sketchbook doodles, like just pages out of my like really random sketches. These clovers, these mushrooms, like some of my stuff is like really tight and really controlled, like this guy up here, and some of my stuff is like it looks like something like a 12-year-old would have drawn. And like that's another problem is like I there's a big chunk of my life got stuck around like middle school. I went through some traumatic stuff at that point in my life, which I'll maybe get into at some point on this channel. So, I mean, there's a part of my brain that's really stuck in that sort of like, oh my god, glitter, oh my god, lip gloss, oh my god, Sailor Moon, oh my god, like I used to be an anime kid. Part of me never really outgrew that. I don't really watch anime anymore, but like I still am very influenced by the aesthetics of anime, the aesthetics of like kawaii culture and like stuff from like Tumblr that I was into when I was not like a kid, but like a young adult. Um, but like yeah, competing aesthetics and like okay, so like I'm like woodsy and like I do like wildlife art and like like okay, like this like I go out in the woods and I look for I can zoom out. Like this is a shed antler that I found. Like I look for the stuff like this, and I go out and I find like when I'm walking in the woods, I find deer skulls, and I'm like fascinated by this stuff, and I sort of got into taxidermy for a while. I didn't really not taxidermy proper, like making like specimen mounts, but like learning how to like tan hides. Like here, this is just a raw hide, but this is like a squirrel tail. This squirrel got hit by a car, and I brought him down to the wood's edge for the crows to eat. Oh wait, hold on. I'll show you Possum Paul in a minute when I get to the next cut. Um, but like so, okay, but I'm also influenced. I've always been interested in like ancient styles, and like the last couple of years, I've kind of been on a kick of like Greek vase painting, and so this is this is my current. It's not really a sketchbook. It's more a folder. I've got some finished pieces in here. I've got some random sketches in here, but this is one of my dudes. Like this is a creature that I've been working with since I was in high school. This is there's a lot of stuff from like a world building campaign. Oh, sorry. There's some semi naked people in here, but nothing obscene. This is a styrofoam print I was working on, experimenting with drawing on styrofoam and then printing. This was also with acrylic. And then here's some more stamp experiments, mushrooms with stars and a comet, and here's a dragon. I love dragons, and that's one of the reasons why I get into like wildlife art is because I want to study real animals so that I can draw mythological creatures better. So this was one I did at the beginning of this year, 2024. Here's another version of my Lake Lord screen print. This one's in green. It's kind of hard to tell. And again, I colored in the black and I outlined it in white. This drawing, this is from 2019. That's a thestral or a baby thestral, or at least my own version of a thestral. It's not really a finished drawing. This is stuff from my world building in my head. These are like water maids. They're not really the villains, but they're a chaotic element within the story. They're kind of they've kind of the water folk in this one. They're more in the dangerous water folk category. They're vampiric. They're rapacious. They're these cold blooded, bloodthirsty creatures that kind of, well, at least one of the tribes, the tribe that lives in the deep water, that come down from the north, they live in these sort of like ice houses, and maybe they live deep underwater. I haven't, none of the, all of this is fleshed out. I just sort of like have like these aesthetics, and I just see these like battles in my brain, and I just imagine these worlds and these creatures and people riding on these creatures, and like, what do they do? And like, I just get these ideas, and I have to make places for them to fit. And like, there's some dwarves, the dwarves in this world, I've been calling them the delving folk, but they kind of syncretize, dwarves, but also fauns. So they live underground. They have horns, but they're also craftsmen and miners, and like dragons. I got dragons. A lot of these are rough sketches. Dwarf people, delving folk with horns. That was a study I did of drawing on a Greek vase painting, and like, what else do I have in here? There's all kinds of craziness. I got some finished pieces in here. Like, I've been working on like maps and like trying to figure out like, what does this world even look like? I got some, these are elephants. Yeah, the giants that live in the wild, and they're very elusive and secretive, but you know, they're like, I want them to be like, to have sort of like these cool symbiotic relationships with like, there's like Ice Age fauna, kind of, sort of. Like, yeah, giants, secretive, telepathic, nomadic. They walk among the wild herds. Giant groves with standing stones, secret hollows along migration paths. Giants plant seeds. So yeah, I want them to have like, I don't know. I just was on like an elephant kick, and so they're kind of like, they're not exactly like a woolly mammoth or a mastodon, but they're kind of like, it's kind of like this antediluvian, or antediluvian, whatever the one that means before is. So there's like all different kinds of craziness. Like, here's like a dwarf and a giant, and the giants are supposed to be like, I want them to be like, not like 15 feet tall, but maybe like 9 feet tall. I'm not sure. There's I don't know, stuff. What else do I got here? Characters. I don't, like, it's not like I don't do enough studies of like actual people. I still draw out of my imagination way too much. There's some stamps. This was like alcohol-based ink experiments that I was doing back in 2016. I was really trying to I wanted to be able to draw like really cool like nebulas and like night skies. This one is just kind of but here's the guy. This is the dude. This is one of my Lake Lords. This was a 2019 redesign of my Lake Lord creatures, and I actually have, this is actually a drawing I did in high school. I know. Look at that. Look at that face. Look at that quality. But like, okay, roasting my own artwork, but at the same time, like, when I was 17, like, I could fucking crank out like a composition, if you can call this a composition, but like, I would get these ideas for like this entire piece, and I would just like stay up like all night, and I would just like draw and draw and draw, and obviously I didn't finish that part, but like, most of this work I did in like, you know, a few sessions, and somewhere along the line I've lost my ability to do this. I'd like to get back to that. I still do it here and there. Like, this is one, God, what year did I do this? 2020? I think I did this one in 2020 or 2021. I ended up making this one into cards. I still had, this is the original. And I did take progress shots of this while I was doing it. The top corner is getting a little wrinkled. But, yeah, this is, marker, colored pencil, gel pen, ink, all kinds of stuff like that. But this is this is one of the things that I do. You know, I was really into Lord of the Rings for a while. These were also 2016 pieces. There's Pippin in his Gondorian armor. Pippin's my favorite character from Lord of the Rings, so I did a lot. Like, here's like another version of Pippin from like the start of the journey. So this was supposed to be like them like leaving the Shire, and he's just kind of like marginally packed, just kind of like, what are we doing? We're trying to find the shortcut through the South Farthing. Oh, more of those stars. But yeah, this guy. So, oh wait, hold on. Because you can see in this was like 2006, maybe? 2006, man, I'm old. They were much more like a kelpie dragon. Like they had these like horse-like manes of like weedy hair, and hold on, where's the newer version? No, this is sort of an intermediate version. This I did in, this was a 2017 version of these creatures. Their necks got a lot thicker. I was moving away from the hair and turning it more into like fins that were growing out of the back of their head, just thinking like the hair is going to be kind of weird and for like a creature that lives in the water. But yeah, you can kind of see like the progression of this creature across the years. And I have more drawings of this from this guy when I was younger. But like this is, I wanted to make him look kind of like, I was looking at a lot of like drawings, like hold on, there's a drawing I did of, it was a study of a Greek vase painting, and it was Nereid, sea nymph, however you say it, riding Cetus, the sea monster. If I can find it. Like that's another part of my problem is like I lose stuff. I'm losing my stuff all the time. But like, okay,